Perfect night for a little football at Highmark Stadium and Buffalo Bills football at that. Welcome to the Buffalo End Zone Podcast. Kevin Carroll, Andy Young with you. It was the return of the blue and the red, the last at the current Highmark Stadium. As Andy, we're going to have a lot of lasts at the current Highmark Stadium as this goes on.
Yeah, it's usually we talk about years of firsts. That'll be next year. This year is the years of the final, right? The year of the last blue and red return scrimmage, the last preseason game, the last home opener, the last home finale. So really cool stuff. The celebration's already sort of on at this point, and the fans showed up as they always do. Bills Mafia for a practice on the first day of August, August 1st, day 8 of training camp. More than 39,200 fans show up to Highmark Stadium. You can see it behind me. The stands are empty now, but the lower bowl was completely packed. And then you had some stragglers in the 200s and all the way up in the nosebleeds behind me here. So really cool stuff. Bills Mafia always shows up, shows out, and they got a treat today.
Yeah, it's crazy sitting there looking at that and thinking of what would it take the Sabres maybe a week worth of games to get that many people at a professional hockey game. But Andy, everyone always looks forward to what Josh Allen is going to do with his helmet on this one, and I don't think it was any surprise. Josh Allen comes out with the red helmet that they're going to wear in the season finale this year, the final game at the current Highmark Stadium. I was a bit disappointed. I thought Josh might go and try to tease people a little bit about the rivalry series uniforms that we're waiting for and maybe have a really weird concept Bills helmet. But that was the right call. The Bills red helmet that's coming.
Yeah, Josh Allen's playing the hits here. He knows that is what everybody's been wanting to see, most people at least, on social media have been chattering and clamoring about, hey, when are you going to bring back the Super Bowl era helmet, right? This is the perfect season to do it. The final season at what was Rich Stadium, and then Ralph Wilson Stadium, New Era Field, Highmark Stadium, whatever you want to call it. And for Josh to come out in the red helmet that he showed off and previewed in the pictures a couple of weeks ago, right before camp started, really cool stuff. And boy, it looks sharp, man. Like, that just brings me back to my childhood. I've got one of those sitting at home in the basement. Looks a little different now. Mm-hmm. The face mask and the chin strap are a little yellowed. It's got some scratches on it. Used to play backyard football with it on and maybe, use it in some wrestling matches with my brother and sister. But, yeah, it's cool. It's the fitting way to end Highmark Stadium, the old Highmark Stadium, and move on to the new. So to see Josh out there with that, and he wore it the whole practice. Usually he'll bring out the different helmet. He's had blue, he had black one year, a red one another year too, and he'll take that off and put the regular one on, the white one. This time, kept that red one on because he's got to break that sucker in. It's got to be ready for Week 18.
Man of the people too, Andy, just goes around the entire stadium throwing balls to kids that are lined up against the wall. I mean, it's amazing to see. He even at one point had to walk away to go stretch a little bit.
Practice, actually.
But he came right back to where he ended and finished the entire loop around the field. Pretty amazing. And then, of course, things kick off, and Khalil Shakir got whacked early in this practice, Andy, and noticeably when he was getting up was a little shook up.
Yeah, and he went up the tunnel and left practice, so that's mildly concerning, right? I mean, we've had a ton of little injuries here, some big with like Maxwell Hairston's case, but you don't want to see Shakir go down. He's one of your key players, right? He's probably behind Josh and James Cook, your best offensive weapon. So, I mean, that's concerning a little bit. Shaq Thompson also went out of practice as well, the reserve veteran linebacker. So we'll keep an eye on that over the next couple of days if we hear anything from the Bills or when we get out to practice on Sunday at St. John Fisher University and see if there's anything more to that. But a lot of guys had veteran rest days. Mm-hmm. They don't want to beat up guys too much on the turf. Josh Allen didn't actually take part in any of the team reps. He did the 7-on-7, did the warm-ups, the positional, the throwing to the receivers and the tight ends, and then that was the end of his day. And then it was Mitch Trubisky and the other two guys, Buechele and White, dueling it out after that.
Yeah, I think the main thing I noticed, and I think you'll agree with me on this one, was Keon Coleman's
Yeah.
performance. I mean, god awful when this practice/scrimmage at Highmark Stadium got underway. I mean, dropping balls that were hitting him dead in the hands, not once, like a couple of times, Andy.
Yeah,
And,
twice.
and I'm sitting there like, okay, this is bad for Keon Coleman. But then, holy cow, did he kind of flip the script as practice went on?
Yeah, I mean, he had those two drops on easily catchable balls that he should have had, where it hit him right in the hands, dropped it. No excuse. But then he made up for it later, and that's kind of the story of Keon Coleman. He had three really nice deep down the field catches. One, a deep ball that he caught with Christian Benford, who's an ascending player, a star cornerback to be in this league, and rose up and caught the ball on the sidelines on a deep ball. Had another one very similar with Dane Jackson in coverage, and then another one that went for a touchdown with Dane Jackson in coverage. And you're going, oh man, all's right with Keon Coleman, right? He made up for it. And that's kind of the roller coaster we've ridden with Keon Coleman, where some days, some games, stretches, he's not good. And then other times, he's unbelievable. So the Bills need more of the good to unbelievable and solid Keon Coleman. Make the simple plays along with those spectacular plays. That's going to be really crucial for him. But a couple of media members and I were talking, that might just be who Keon Coleman is. He might be a little bit inconsistent. That's okay if he's your number two, but if you're expecting him to continue to elevate and rise, he's got to get that inconsistency out of his game. It's a practice. It is what it is. You try not to read too much into all of this stuff. Like, we sit here and I write down every play that happens in most of the 7-on-7s and all the 11-on-11s. I keep notes on that sort of stuff. Just people want to know what's going on at practice, and it's a chance for us as media members to give the fans a chance to see and hear things that we don't, once the regular season starts, have a chance to do. Like, we can't watch practice other than the first couple of minutes when they're just doing individual drills. So we don't see teamwork and that sort of thing and what they're working on and how players are faring in real simulated football. So you don't try to read too much into it, but at the same time, people want to know, and you can get glimmers of how players are performing throughout camp just by their performances in these practices. Keon Coleman was a roller coaster today, but there was some really good stuff to go with some really not good stuff.
And you mentioned maybe it is who he is when you started talking there, Andy. And I think that, I mean, even early in last season where it looked like Keon Coleman was on the rise, there were still moments in his game where he would, drop a ball or not catch a ball. I recall one against the Dolphins where it hit him right in the hands inside like the 15-yard line, bounced up in the air and turned into an interception. And then you have Keon Coleman, running down the sideline, making a ridiculous catch over someone's head. We saw that throughout the season last year, continuing to see it throughout camp, and then it all encapsulated in this one day. It does make you think, Andy, if this is just what he is as a wide receiver.
Yeah, I mean, he's got great moments where he's able to do spectacular things, use that size and physicality and the athleticism to go get the ball, his basketball background to haul it in. And then there's other times where he's inconsistent and doesn't make the play. So if he can work on cleaning those things up, it's obviously still a work in progress for him. That's going to be crucial for this Bills team this season. But to see the quarterbacks, Mitch Trubisky had a really nice throw to him. Mike White had a couple of really nice throws to him. So that looked good from my perspective too. It's just doing it on a consistent basis.
And Andy, there were other wide receivers that popped during this. To me, I mean, Jalen Virgil, he had a catch in traffic late in practice that to me was just amazing. I mean, who knows how we already have an idea of who the Bills receivers are going to be this year, but some of these young guys, when presented with the opportunity, shined during this practice.
Yeah, Jalen Virgil's a guy who got some run last year a little bit and had his chances with the practice squad and then getting the bump up here and there. And then uh, Christian Wilkerson had a really nice practice too. And he's stacked a few nice practices together throughout training camp and making some nice catches and finding his way to being open. And, you don't know if these guys are going to make the roster, but it's really important for players like that to continue to ascend and elevate and push. And maybe they make the practice squad. And maybe in a year or two, they make the 53 and they're a part of it. So it's good to see that. Gosnell, another guy who had a nice play in training camp earlier at St. John Fisher. I saw him making a couple of plays too. So there are some guys in that mix. Latu, one of the tight ends, young guy that's out there as well. I mean, so there's some players out there making plays. And it's not all about just, is this going to be a game day, top 5 contributor? These are guys that are going to push the roster, have depth, and if they can continue to ascend and grow and develop, that they could become NFL 53-man roster guys.
Yeah, Jackson Hawes, the new tight end, the Bills just drafted. A lot of talk about him, primary being a blocker, but he made some nice plays. He made some nice catches today too. And you can see maybe something developing with a 3 tight end set that the Bills might be looking at. They ran it a number of times. Dalton Kincaid, Dawson Knox still not out there practicing, but you had Kincaid, you had Hawes, and you had Zach Davidson all out there to start one of the segments or periods or whatever they call that, you might be looking at a lot of from the Bills in certain situations this year.
Yeah, Dawson Knox still not fully going into the team reps yet, but he is out there on the field and doing the individual work. So, that's coming for him, and he'll be fine, I think, and he'll be ready to go. Kincaid, looking pretty good. He had some nice catches in this game.
Great really catch in the back of the end zone, Andy.
Yeah, nice touchdown at the end of practice. That was really nice. And I like that. Mike White had a touchdown pass on play action to a wide open Jackson Hawes. You brought him up. And, yeah, that 3 tight end set is going to be interesting this year. Instead of going with Alec Anderson, and they still could use him in that role as the jumbo tight end, but to have Jackson Hawes, who's known as a great blocker, but also is going to give you some juice in the passing game, more than, 315-pound Alec Anderson or however much he weighs, big dude, great blocker, nasty streak, but, doesn't provide a whole lot of threat as far as passing the football. So if they can get Hawes involved, and I think he's worked in with the ones because of the injuries to Knox and to Kincaid at times, and as he develops with Josh and with the rest of the offense, I think that's a weapon that they can use. Is he going to go out there and catch 60 footballs? No chance, but to have him be a threat in those moments where, it's 4th and 2 and you're going to bring in the jumbo package, or it's even on first down, they would run that jumbo package a lot. And if you're able to run play action off that, that just adds a whole nother wrinkle and element to what Joe Brady can do as an offensive coordinator.
So Josh Allen doesn't take part in team drills in this one, Andy. We're past the halfway mark of training camp. You saw Mitch Trubisky and Mike White kind of rotating throughout the practice on who was going with the ones, who was going with the twos. How do you see that backup quarterback battle shaping out? I still think I give the upper hand to Trubisky at this point, but, Mike White, he shows some signs of making some decent throws here and there.
Yeah, Mike White throws a nice football, that no doubt about that, and he doesn't offer both the experience in the Bills system. He was here last season, but the repertoire with Josh Allen, Trubisky, and he are good buddies. And he represents that running ability, too, that the Bills like. And that if Josh Allen goes out for a game or two, or even just part of a game, that Trubisky can offer some of the same elements. Nobody's Josh Allen, right? I mean, we've said it, a unicorn. But if you can bring in somebody who has a similar sort of skill set, or at least the ability to do some of those things in a pinch, I think Trubisky still has the slight edge. I thought both White and Trubisky had really nice practices here at Highmark Stadium tonight, and I've liked some of what Mike White has done, but I would give the slight nod still to Trubisky, just given that his situation, his experience level, his familiarity. But you never know. We'll see how it all plays out here, especially once we get to the preseason, right? That's the real test for backup quarterbacks is how do they perform in those 3 preseason games.
And that's coming up on us quick, Andy.
It's a week away, dude. I can't believe it.
It's unbelievable. I mean, this time next week, they'll be gone from St. John Fisher.
Right.
And back working out. Camp still continues now. It's back at One Bills Drive, as I'm sure we'll hear at some point towards the end of next week, Andy. But injuries, veteran rest days, you getting a chance to see some of the other guys further down the depth chart step up. You mentioned Dane Jackson earlier. Trey White had a veteran rest day for this event at Highmark Stadium. And
Joey Bosa, veteran rest.
Yep.
Matt Milano, veteran rest. Spencer Brown still is activated now, but still not practicing yet. So Curtis Samuel, another guy. There's some injuries they're dealing with. We mentioned Maxwell Hairston earlier. He, again, was here. We saw him on crutches, but he's putting weight on his right knee, which a source tells us is a sprained LCL, lateral collateral ligament, not the dreaded ACL, which was feared and probably would have ended his season if he had torn his ACL, which the Bills are thankful that he didn't do that. And it's indefinite. There's no timetable given on when he'll be back, but a whole lot better than what it would have been. But it's good to see him walking around. He was signing some autographs afterwards, mingling with family and players' families and friends and things like that after practice. So that's certainly a good sign for him that he's not, shut down completely.
Yeah, no, it was good to see like all those guys out there at the practice. I mentioned Dane Jackson. We mentioned that Keon Coleman got the best of him a couple of times. Any concerns? I mean, it is what it is, Andy. But when I look back at Dane Jackson before he left, I was always concerned that other teams were targeting him way too much. I get him being some insurance, being here, familiar with the system.
He's a good depth player. I think there's nothing wrong with having Dane Jackson on your team, especially if guys go out, right? He's not probably your long-term answer. We know that. I mean, he left a year ago and came back. So he's a player that you can rely on in terms of knowing where he needs to be and all those sorts of things. But, of course, everybody's going to talk about Benford. He's locked down. He's good to go. And then it's that battle between Trey White and Max Hairston, which even before the Hairston injury was leaning towards Trey White. I mean, we had a long time to go before a game, but Trey has shown out pretty well. Jamarcus Ingram's getting some reps out there. So that's the good part about it for the Bills. I thought they actually have some really good cornerback depth at this point, which in years past has been a real bugaboo for them. And when guys go down, they're kind of in trouble and hurting, no pun intended. So, Dane Jackson's fine. And if they need him on the roster to be a depth player and a piece that, hey, you need a guy in a pinch, I'm fine with that. Is he, a star? Absolutely not. But there's plenty of room for guys like Dane Jackson on this Bills roster.
Yeah, and, with injuries, we actually saw Balin Spector and Joe Andreessen on the
field. You brought that up.
On the field at the same time. Those two basically battling, but both out there at the same time during team drills.
Yeah, with Terrell Bernard still a little banged up. He hasn't practiced in a little bit, and they're working to get him back. Milano getting his vet rest day on the turf here. To have Spector and Andreessen both out there, and I thought they had some decent moments. I thought that Andreessen had a nice run stuff at one point. Spector was kind of doing his thing, playing more of the Milano role, while Andreessen, I feel like, and I'm not 100% sure, was playing more of the middle Mike linebacker role, which is the Terrell Bernard spot. And they were okay. They're fine. Mm-hmm. Those guys are backups, and they're battling each other. So these are really important reps for them. No, you don't want to see Terrell Bernard banged up, and, you got to keep Matt Milano healthy. That's a big key for them. But for those young guys to go out there and get some run, that's going to be really important, and that is a big battle coming down the stretch here. They might end up with both guys, and then we'll see what happens with Shaq Thompson and Edifuan Ulofoshio. Another second-year guy, if one of those can make a push, or if they end up practice squad guys, or how that all shakes out.
Yeah, it's hard to believe we have 4 practices at Fisher left. Sunday, Monday, off day Tuesday. Am I right in saying that? And then Wednesday,
I think
Thursday.
so. I think that's right. Yeah. So it's gone quick, right? Like training camp's really only 2.5 weeks at least away from Orchard Park, not including this scrimmage, and it flies by, right? I mean, you and I both remember, maybe even you more than I do, some of those training camps where it felt like you're out there for a month, right? It's just not like that anymore.
I remember, oh my God, it was probably like around 2010 or something like that. It was like, first of all, double sessions.
Yeah.
Maybe that was earlier, but like we would cover the walkthrough in the morning. Me and our buddy Bob Gosney would be the only media members there half the time, and they'd be like, "Why are you at the walkthrough?"
8 o'clock in the morning, right?
Yeah, we're a 24-hour news station. That's why we're here. But
Yeah.
I mean, they would pack up, go play a preseason game, and go right back to Fisher for more camp. I thought it basically ran into late August, and this is going to wrap up early August, Andy. Something just popped into my head. We talk about the injuries and stuff like that, and players getting opportunities, and that includes one Ray Davis. And no,
Yes.
this has nothing to do with James Cook. Ray Davis brought in to kick extra points because Tyler Bass is still dealing with that pelvic injury. Bass was out there. He was in uniform.
And they actually ran Bass out there for one of the plays where they set up what would have been either a field
Right.
goal or an extra point. I'm not sure exactly what they were doing at the time. They snapped the football, got the hold, and then they didn't kick it. Bass just kind of stood there, right?
Yeah.
And kind of, yeah. So they practiced that, and then, towards the end of practice, Ray Davis comes on, the running back. He actually put on a different set of cleats. He put on kicker's cleats.
Yeah.
He kicked 3 28-yarders. He made 2 of them. They
Yep.
didn't get a ton of air. Wasn't a lot of hang time on those suckers, but he put 2 of them through the upright. So that was pretty cool to see the fans. And, God forbid, in the game, we've seen it before. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's happened for Bills opponents. It's happened for the Bills in the past, I'm sure, too. I remember, I think it was, Dan Carpenter or Hauschka? One of those 2 guys got hurt in Seattle the one time. But, if your kicker goes down in the game, Ray Davis, if they need an extra point or something, I guess maybe they're giving him a shot at it. And oftentimes it'll be sometimes quarterbacks can do it or wide receivers. But, Ray Davis, the running back, out there and put 2 out of 3 in. So not too shabby for number 22.
It happens, Andy. I don't remember who it was. I want to say the Chiefs or the Dolphins, but some team at Highmark Stadium, their kicker pulled their groin during warm-ups.
Yeah, that was just a couple of years ago, right?
Yeah, and they were out. They didn't have a kicker the entire game.
Yeah. It happens, right? So you got to prepare for all those situations. Today was an opportunity too for the Bills. They worked really hard on situational things, and they even had announcing to the crowd what they were working on for those periods. There was a period where they were backed up to their own goal line and had to fight their way down the field. They did some periods where it was the end of game or end of quarter situation where they're either trying to run out the clock and put the game away or go down and score. And they did a lot of that. They pumped in the crowd noise. It was really loud in here.
That was annoying.
Yeah, almost 40,000 fans, but that crowd noise was so loud. But they're trying to simulate those situations, and it was cool to see them practice that because we don't often get to see that part of practice where they're working really hard on situational things. And, that was a cool part to see during this return of the blue and red.
What's always cool year after year with this event, Andy, is the new faces on the team, the rookies and the guys that they just brought in. Sean McDermott sets this up so that it's simulating a game day, how you get to the stadium, how you get to the locker room, what you do to get ready to go out there. And then
Warm-ups,
you have
all of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Then you have the fans, the screaming and yelling to get used to that. And, you have new guys, especially on that defensive line, Andy. That's where all the new guys are. And you got to talk to some of the new guys about their first experience coming out of that tunnel at Highmark Stadium to Bills Mafia.
Yeah, Deion Walker, the rookie out of Kentucky defensive tackle, said he kind of just looked around and was like, oh my gosh, this is just a practice. This is pretty cool. He took a moment for that, and someone asked him, is this kind of like an SEC environment? And he said, yeah, absolutely. Like, that's what you hear a lot is like Buffalo and Bills Mafia, and this stadium is like a college atmosphere. And they got a taste of that, and there was only, 40,000 fans here as opposed to damn near 70,000 that you'll see during a regular season game. And then Landon Jackson, he was loving it, thought it was really cool. He said it was insane to see Bills Mafia show the love like that. And then Michael Hoyt, who has been really stoked. He's a veteran player, played for the Rams, but he's from the Toronto area, so he knows all about Bills Mafia, and he's been really excited about that. And he said, just even coming to the stadium, the traffic was backed up from his house just to get here. And that's exactly what you mentioned, is like getting a feel for what game day is like. And they all kind of said, yeah, this is really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a cool thing. They do. I'm sure they'll do it in the new Highmark Stadium when they move over there. But Andy, a nice one day off and then back to business, like I said earlier, at St. John Fisher, as that portion of training camp starts to wind down this week. And position battles will keep going on, Andy, and you keep an eye on that injured list and hope you don't see more people going on it and instead more people coming back at this point. But, again, we still have 3 preseason games to go and then, a little hiatus, and then the season kicks off on a Sunday night. So there's still some work out there.
Yeah, special shout out to, I want to mention this before we head out. Marv Levy turning 100 years old this weekend, which is unbelievable, right? And I know that they're having some celebrations for him out at the Hall of Fame with the Hall of Fame game and all that sort of stuff that's been going on, and the new inductions, and celebrating Marv Levy, 100 years old, still giving interviews and doing all that stuff, and kind of talking about memories of his teams and all the good stuff that he did here. Just an absolute legend and a first-class guy. So, hey, happy 100th birthday later this weekend for Marv Levy.
Yep, and happy birthday to Bobby Babbage, too.
Yeah.
He pulled a Michael Scott the other day. Oh, we share the same birthday. Anyhow, Andy, we'll wrap things up for now. We'll get back at it at Fisher later on in the week. No 3 and out tonight, Andy, because we did a lot today, and I haven't watched TV in a week. So,
hey, we'll catch up on what you're watching sometime soon, right?
Yeah, we'll get to it. As always, everyone, thanks for joining us. For Andy Young, I'm Kevin Carroll.